Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
It's Halloween time, and I know I've been saying all month that it's Halloween time, but today is actually the day of Halloween. And as this channel's tradition goes, we must review another Halloween movie. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I love the subtitle of this movie because it's both literal and figurative. I guess, is that the right word? Figurative, yes. If we go back to last year's review of Halloween 3, you'll notice that Michael Myers is in fact not in it. Halloween 3 is the... No. You're not in this one. You're not in this one. Look. Well, this time Michael's back, which I kind of have mixed feelings on. Don't get me wrong, I love the Halloween series. Michael Myers is my favorite movie monster of all time. But the original idea for Halloween 3 was so awesome. Instead of being another Michael Myers sequel, it was going to be this anthology film series where each sequel was going to be a different Halloween story. That would have been so cool. I think that would have worked today, but back then in the 80s, there was really no home internet. All your movie news came from either trailers or word of mouth. So everyone that went into that movie came out thinking, where the hell was Michael? And although now it does have a cult following, Halloween 3 bombed when it first came out. Halloween 4 was originally envisioned to be a ghost story, not involving Michael Myers again, but after 3 did so bad, the whole thing fell apart. John Carpenter bailed out, he sold the rights off. Halloween 4 went back to the original formula of having Michael Myers slashing teens. It's what everyone wanted, apparently. And you know what, there is this belief that everything after Halloween 2 sucks. I actually disagree with that. I thought Halloween 4 was pretty good. It goes back to the original formula of Halloween, but it does add a little bit of its own personality to keep it distinct from the first 2 movies. You can tell right away in the opening, instead of showing the pumpkin like in 1 or 2 and blasting the theme song, we get glimpses of rural America. It's quiet, all you hear is the wind blowing, you see Halloween decoration. It gives the movie an eerie feel right at the beginning, and I think it's a great way to really separate it and give it its own personality. Halloween 4 takes place 10 years after Halloween 2, and Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, is no longer part of the Halloween universe. In this movie, she died in a car accident and left behind a daughter, a little girl named Jamie Lloyd. She misses her mom and she's living with a foster family now, and she's got a close relationship with her foster sister Rachel. A lot of times in these kind of movies where there's foster families involved, they're usually portrayed as these big assholes. But this family actually cares about her, but Rachel often says very insensitive things.
I think tonight Brady was ready to make a commitment. But now my future relationship, my engagement, my marriage, my children, and your grandchildren have all been wiped out because I have to babysit. Oh, joy.
I'm sorry I ruined everything. I wasn't here. You can go out.
Oh.
Good job, Rachel.
Do you love me, Rachel?
Serious questions tonight. Of course I love you.
Like a sister?
Jamie, sometimes
Like a real sister?
We're not really sisters, Jamie.
That's so messed up. She's a kid. Even if she's a foster sister, she asks, do you love me like a sister? Just say yes. That's clearly what she wanted to hear, and it would have made her feel a lot better. Instead of being like, no, we're not real sisters.
Good job, Rachel.
What's even worse is that Jamie's often bullied in school too, which I understand bullying is a real thing. Usually kids will make fun of other kids for their appearance if they're a little overweight or whatever. But these kids go in hard. They're little bastards.
How come your mommy didn't make you a costume, Jamie? How could you? Her mommy's dead. Jamie's mommy's a mommy. Stop it, okay? Stop it! Jamie's an orphan. Jamie's an orphan. Jamie, please stop it! Jamie's an orphan.
What kind of kid makes fun of another kid for being an orphan? That's so messed up. You know, I'm going to say something, and it's going to be a real horrible thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. If Michael Myers came to town and added these kids to his list, I don't think I'd feel bad for them. I'll just leave it at that. One thing that confuses me about Jamie, though, is that she has these visions of Michael as a kid and an adult, but she's never seen him before. You can argue that maybe her mom described him to her, but as a parent, why would you describe in detail the man that was trying to murder you on Halloween night?
Help me, please! Somebody help me!
dream? I don't know, but to add on, Michael looks like what he does in this movie, and not in Halloween 1 or 2. When he does show up, you'll notice something is off with Michael. He looks kind of goofy and really bulky. Apparently they wanted him to be a bit more physically imposing in this movie, so they added hockey pads under the costume, and you can tell. It looks like those Halloween costumes with the fake muscles to make kids look bigger. It's so bad, and the mask looks terrible. It looks too white and pasty, and the hair is combed all the way back. The idea was to use the original 1975 Captain Kirk mask, but the mask was gone, and a new one had to be bought at a costume shop. And during filming, they actually tested what the mask would look like with and without altering it, and they ended up having to reshoot scenes, and there's actually one scene left in the movie where the original unaltered mask was carelessly kept in. You can see it right here. Look how weird that mask looks. Completely different from every other scene in the movie. I went completely off track, didn't I? I haven't even talked about the beginning of the movie yet. The last time we saw Michael Myers, he was burning up in Halloween 2. And I mean burning to a smoldering crisp on the ground after having his eyes shot out. Well, it turns out this was just a minor inconvenience for him. He's still alive, but in a coma. He's bandaged up so you can't see his features.
Jesus.
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this place.
Ooh, setting up the creep factor already. I love it. And I find it hilarious that Michael doesn't really die at the end of most of his movies. Unlike Jason, if you go watch Friday the 13th, Jason always dies and then the lightning bolt will come strike him and bring him back to life or whatever, as some kind of zombie monster. With Michael, there's always some kind of BS explanation how he just happened to survive. In Halloween 4, he just suffered some burns, and the orderlies transporting him stupidly mentioned that Laurie had a daughter, and upon hearing this, Michael just activates.
Did Hoffman say anything about living relatives?
Yeah, a niece living in his hometown. No, I still don't understand.
Do you know how much strength it takes to take your thumb and insert it into someone's forehead? You have to go through flesh, you have to go through bone. The gore factor is definitely increased in this movie. Halloween 1 and 2 are universally known to be horror movies without a whole lot of blood and gore, proving that you don't need it to be scary. From Halloween 4 onwards, that completely changed. Michael became a superhuman beast. After the original rough cut of Halloween 4, reshoots added more violence because the original version was deemed too soft. Michael, of course, escapes, and Dr. Loomis goes with the police to find the ambulance, just saturated in blood splatter. I still stand by the fact that a horror movie doesn't need blood and gore to be scary, but this does match all the slasher flicks of the 80s that kept trying to one-up each other. Donald Pleasance is back in the role of Dr. Loomis, and he's as great as ever. He's one of the aspects of the Halloween series that stayed consistently great. And the second he finds out Michael escaped, he doesn't even stop to hear the rest of the sentence. He just hauls ass.
Apparently there was an accident just south of Mill Creek near the Loomis.
I never understood why people discredit him so quickly. He's known as this crazy doctor that's obsessed with Michael, yet he was right every single time Michael escapes. This dude actually killed several people. Why would you discredit what his doctor is saying? And it's probably a bad idea to be employed as a mechanic around Haddonfield, Illinois, because there is a 50-50 chance around Halloween time that you are going to get killed for your uniform. And I gotta say, Michael Myers has Nightcrawler teleportation powers. When Loomis finds him, Michael's standing right in front of him, within eyesight. He shoots right at him, and then Michael's just instantly gone, and a second later he's driving away. This is a theme throughout the movie. He's just teleporting around town. Either that, or he's off camera, just constantly running full speed to the next location. As Dr. Loomis is on his way into town, Rachel takes Jamie to buy a Halloween costume, and she picks a clown costume just like Michael when he was a kid, and that mask right there, by the way, with the snake coming out of the skull, that looks just like the man-eater that's appeared in the Castlevania games. That's awesome. But I'll tell you what's not awesome is Rachel's boyfriend Brady, and god damn he's got huge eyebrows. I don't know why that bothers me so much. He's your typical slasher movie asshole boyfriend character. He's upset that Rachel's babysitting instead of spending time with him, so instead of rescheduling, he decides to fool around with the sheriff's daughter.
Hi, Rachel.
leave me alone and let's forget it.
No, you don't understand. I mean, you blew off for a date at the last minute.
So you hop on to the next best thing? I thought you were different from other guys.
No, I'm different. It's just that I just got pissed off, that's all.
Oh, really? Well, I'll just let you get back to Little Miss Hot Panties.
It's Rachel.
Jamie?
And you know what the rule is when you fool around in a horror movie.
I thought you might like some coffee.
This is one of my favorite kills in this movie, and it makes me chuckle every time. How long was Michael sitting in that chair, just waiting for someone to notice him? She probably should have just stayed quiet and acted like she didn't even see him. He's just sitting there waiting for a reaction just before he decides to strike. Fantastic. Make some coffee. Oh yeah. Dr. Loomis has so much trouble getting to Haddonfield, too. There's so many assholes that live in this town, it seems. First, we've got those horrible bully kids. Then we have Loomis trying to hitchhike his way to town. Someone completely ignores him. You know what? Fine. You never know when it's safe to pick up hitchhikers. I personally don't do it myself. But then these teenagers take it to the next level.
Come on, old man, let's go!
Why? He's just an old man. At least this does leave the door open for him to be picked up by this insane alcoholic priest, who is extremely entertaining.
You're hunting it, ain't you? Yeah, you're hunting it all right. Just like me.
What are you hunting, Mr. Sam?
Apocalypse, end of the world, Armageddon. I've been hunting the bastard for 30 years, give or take. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful, beautiful river.
This time around, instead of going from house to house quietly, Michael causes all sorts of chaos in town. He goes directly to the police department, slaughters everyone to the point that it's basically just the sheriff and a couple of deputies left. He finds an electrician working on a power grid, he throws him into it like a missile, and causes a widespread blackout. Michael's just done with everyone's shit, and he prepares properly before he goes on his rampage. And what happens when there's an emergency alert in the town warning everyone that there's an insane serial killer on the loose that has struck that same town before? One of the stupidest things I've ever seen a character do in a horror movie.
Oh, Christ, Doc. Dear God.
Hey, don't shoot! Oh, that was great. You thought it was me, didn't you? Sheriff!
It's absolutely shocking that they didn't get blown away. It would have been an absolutely justified shooting. News starts spreading that Michael escaped and he returned to Haddonfield, and the gun-crazy rednecks at the local bar form a huge mob to get Michael, and they leave in their pickup trucks. The sheriff is just pissed off that they're driving around playing vigilante, but there's no police force left, so there's really no other option. Everything's just going to shit in town. And the first thing the mob does...
There he is!
Right there, those bushes.
Shit, Earl. It's Ted Hollister.
You dumb son of a bitch.
They blow away an innocent person because someone yelled that it was Michael. Rachel and Jamie are bunkered down in the sheriff's house when Michael finds them, and then alpha male Brady displays his expert gun handling skills in one of the most prolonged kills in the movie. This guy sucks.
Brady, come with us!
Go!
Brady!
Get up there, Rachel!
Brady!
Get up there, Rachel!
Brady, come with us!
Go!
Oh, Brady!
Go!
Take her to the house!
Some of the backstory during production while filming the nighttime scenes is actually really interesting too. One of the crew members dropped a light and accidentally slit their own wrist, and they had to get taken to the hospital. Ellie Cornell, that plays Rachel, she cut her stomach open on a nail when she was sliding down the roof, losing a good amount of blood. Complete chaos. And one of the scarier aspects of Halloween 4 is that Michael's target is a child. There's something so deeply terrifying to me, seeing this movie from the point of a child versus an adult. And Danielle Harris, who plays Jamie, does a great job in the role. To the point that during filming, they even kept removing the mask to keep reminding her that none of it was real. By the end of the movie, the redneck mob is still looking for Michael, and the state police is on their way into town to save the day. But Michael uses his teleportation powers apparently to appear right on one of their trucks and proceeds to decimate the vigilante redneck squad. And Rachel is actually sort of a badass. Throughout the movie, she's actively trying to protect Jamie, even though she's just the new foster sister. She keeps putting her life on the line for her, and she slams her car into Michael, sending him flying.
Die. Son of a bitch!
And how does Michael go out in this movie? At least until the inevitable part 5. Does he get shot 6 times and fall out of a window? Does he catch on fire again? No. An entire police force unloads a barrage of bullets on him. It's so over-exaggerated and so badass. But the threat of Michael Myers isn't over. When Jamie gets home, she attacks her foster mother, much like Michael Myers attacked his sister when he was a kid. I love this ending, and I really wish they would have continued the storyline from here.
No! No!
It's almost as if Michael's evil transferred over to Jamie, and they did something similar to this with very mixed results. In Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. I think it would have been interesting seeing the potential sequels with Jamie now as the new killer, but the story potential there would remain untapped, as sequel after sequel did the same shit over and over again until Busta Rhymes was karate kicking Michael. Halloween 4 is definitely worth a watch, nowhere near the quality level and classicness of 1 and 2, but still a pretty damn good slasher flick, which you can get pretty cheap via my Amazon affiliate link in the description. And to note, it's probably a better idea to buy these movies separately now, since the box set goes for an insane amount of money online. And remember, tonight is Halloween. Turn off the lights, put on some scary movies, go trick-or-treating or pass out candy. Whatever you do, stay safe, have fun. Michael Myers will see you next year. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.